Thanks, sir.
Let's get this right. Juneteenth commemorates the day that Texan slaves were free. Understand that we are not all free until everyone's free. Do know that one person enslaved is us all enslaved. So on this day we commemorate our ancestors. We commemorate everyone who's in the movement, and we want to move with unity. This is a peaceful protest. What is this? What is this? Okay, Ebony Noir, I'll calm down a little bit, but y'all gotta keep me hyped, because we need this energy in the street. We need people to know that we are not to be moved, we are not to be played with, we are moving unity. We are moving in unison.
Hey, it's Jordan. We are here in downtown New York City. Juneteenth protest / celebration. We got a whole mix of people here with the familiar chants. Let's try to get up closer. Seeing a lot of flags of Africa too, and cars honking in solidarity with the protesters. I believe they are marching right now to City Hall right here in downtown Manhattan. Please press that like button right under the video. There is Juneteenth protests and celebrations going on all over the country. June 19th is the date in 1865 where a Union commander arrived in Texas to tell the remaining slaves in Texas that they were freed, essentially marking the end of slavery for the Confederate States. It, in fact, didn't, in practice, end slavery completely until December of that year, when the 13th Amendment passed. So it looks like New York City has several protests going on all over the city today. So this is just one of them. Looks like a good number of people, maybe a couple hundred protesters out here as they're marching up towards City Hall in New York City. Earlier today, talking about the national movement, one of the police officers involved in the murder of Breonna Taylor in Louisville, Kentucky, was fired. Not arrested, but fired. So obviously, if you're looking on social media, folks are not satisfied with that. So we see justice for artist Michael Stewart, BLM, and Yes We Can. Who is Michael Stewart, sir?
He was a graffiti artist. He was a friend of Jean-Michel Basquiat. You remember the graffiti famous artists? They used to run together with Keith Haring. We were all artists back in the 80s. And Michael was going home one night, and he just stopped to scribble. And the police escalated into his death in 1983.
Wow, before I was born, holy. And he was a graffiti artist that was basically trying to...
Yes. And the whole thing was, he died 13 days later. The black nurses was trying to get the police to take all the handcuffs off him so they can give him medical care. They just ignored the nurses. And when the city coroner, Elliot Grossman, did the autopsy, his eyes became missing. So his eyes would have told the truth of strangulation that would have manifested in the eyeballs. So he was killed and his eyeballs went missing. And Mario Cuomo was the governor at that time. And just like this, we marched for justice for his family.
What does it say to you that we can walk? What does it say to you seeing these weeks worth of protests?
It's about time. It's well overdue, long overdue. Long overdue. From Emmett Till until now.
What's your name?
Javon.
Thank you, Javon. Appreciate it. So that was just one name of a black man killed in the 1980s. Remember to smash that like button so we could get more people watching. Jen's in Washington, D.C., so she'll be live sometime after me. So we're on it, baby. We're on it. Press the like button. Share this live stream to more people. Here we have some gorgeous murals to commemorate George Floyd. Here we go, right there. Just beautiful. Beautiful. Could you see that? Beautiful. And did you make those?
Actually, it's an anonymous designer. He's trying to stay under the radar, but he's making a different piece every day. And we're just out here trying to pass them out.
Absolutely stunning. The colors and layers, beautiful. What does it say to you that this protest movement has been going on? It's over 3 weeks, close to a month. We haven't seen anything like this in decades in America.
Yeah, it's definitely mind-boggling, but I'm happy that it's happening. It's been a long time coming. I hope that this one sticks, and I hope that change actually happens this time. Sometimes people get tired of saying the same thing over and over again, and I hope that this time they actually listen to us.
What's your name?
Antonio Robinson.
Thank you, Antonio. Appreciate it. So, that's interesting that it's an anonymous artist that basically doesn't want any credit for that. By the way, we got Jamal behind the camera. It's hot. He's carrying a heavy load. So feel free, keep those super chats coming. This is a super chat if you're feeling hospitable. And we got the GoFundMe going as well. Right now we are wrapping around City Hall here in New York City and the courthouse. This is a good view of how many protesters are here.
In whose street? In whose street? It's on the police. It's on the police.
Hey Jordan, where are you guys conglomerated? We are downtown New York City. Right now, to give you the street address, this is Center Street and Reed Street. Center Street and Reed Street. And we're pretty much wrapping around City Hall here in New York City. If you don't know, in New York City, it's got the biggest budget of any police department in the country, $6 billion, as the rest of the city crumbles. So we have seen other police departments in other places start cutting the budgets for police departments. Not enough if you ask me, but it's a start. We got a father and son duo here, which is nice to see. And right now, the protesters are wrapped around City Hall, I think. Let's see. Press that like button. Get this out to more people. Excuse me, sorry. Can I just get through here? So right now, you got a big defund, disarm, disband the police sign. So there's been kind of a mix of protests all over New York City. and they kind of come together. Some of them are called defund the police. Some of them.
Black lives matter! 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 Black lives matter!
Mic check. Mic check.
Mic check!
For our safety,
For our safety,
you must know
must know
NYPD
NYPD
will be sending
will be sending
riot cops.
riot cops.
We will say, take off your riot gear.
Take off your riot gear.
We don't see no riot here.
We don't see no riot here.
Peaceful protest.
Peaceful protest.
Peaceful protest.
Peaceful protest.
Mic check.
Mic check.
Mic check.
Mic check.
Let's be clear.
Let's be clear.
Peaceful protest
Peaceful protest
is a tactic.
is a tactic.
They fuck with us,
They fuck with us.
then we say, if they say get back,
We say fight back.
if the cops say get back,
We say fight back.
if the cops say get back,
We say fight back.
mic check,
Mic check.
mic check.
Mic check.
If you came here alone,
You came here alone.
look to your left,
Look to your left.
look to your right,
Look to your right.
look behind you,
Look behind you.
look in front of you.
Look in front of you.
These are your people.
These are your people.
These are the people you struggle with.
These are the people you struggle with.
Find a buddy.
Find a buddy.
Don't be out here alone.
Don't be out here alone.
If you don't have it,
If you don't have it,
write the number
write the number
for the National Lawyers Guild
National Lawyers Guild
on your arm
on your arm
in black marker.
in black marker.
If you're arrested,
If you're arrested,
the cops
the cops
will take your phone.
will take your phone.
We have
We have
observers
observers
from the National Lawyers Guild.
from the National Lawyers Guild.
We will not be afraid.
We will not be afraid.
We will not be scared.
We will not be scared.
Fuck your helicopter.
There's a helicopter flying right above. A police helicopter is flying right above us. Pretty damn low. That's pretty damn low in New York City. Right above that building. So you just heard the organizer giving the number for the Lawyers Guild. Lawyers guilds around the country have been bailing out protesters for the last 3.5 weeks, and donations have been coming in all over the country to help with those bail funds.
People's Assembly
People's Assembly
at a location to be announced.
at a location to be announced.
When it's time,
When it's time,
we will chant
we will chant
out of the streets
out of the streets
and into the park.
and into the park.
Out of the streets
Out of the streets
and into the park.
and into the park.
At 4 o'clock,
At 4 o'clock.
we'll let you know where.
So right there is the New York courthouse. I've been in there before.
Fuck the racist.
Unfortunately, it's often disproportionately black men facing bullshit charges in courthouses here and many other places. And remember, this protest is for Juneteenth, which commemorates the end of slavery, at least for the Confederate States, in 1865. It took, that was June 19th, 1865. It actually took till the end of that year, December, for all of the slaves to really be freed with the 13th Amendment. But then we know technically they were freed, but the United States government basically shifted slavery, and created criminal slavery by arresting and rounding up freed slaves and incarcerating them to maintain free labor, which Ava DuVernay's documentary shows so well. If you haven't seen 13th, check it out on Netflix. Did you know about I assume you knew about Juneteenth before this year, but it's really a lot bigger, obviously, this year.
Yeah, it was never a holiday like this. It's great to see the awareness for the holidays growing. Now we're actually going to have a day off for it. It's good.
And we also hear from a lot of people, activists, scholars, that we still, maybe not slavery, but we still got segregation in America in most industries, most avenues. Black people have never been truly free to the true definition of the word, like white people. So they might not be slaves, but we're seeing with the protests and the injustice, in many ways they're still living in servitude.
We're dying from COVID-19. The teachers organized, fought back, and closed the schools. Fuck COVID-19. Fuck COVID-19. The teachers say, Black students matter. Black students matter. Black students matter. Black students matter. Black teachers matter. Black teachers matter. Black parents matter. Black parents matter. All Black lives matter. All Black lives matter. Trans Black lives matter. Trans Black lives matter. Queer Black lives matter. Queer Black lives matter. Immigrant Black lives matter. Immigrant Black lives matter. Amen to that.
Press the like button, share this live stream on your other social media streams.
We say thank you. To the teachers. Let's give it up. For the teachers. Who keeps us safe? We keep us safe. 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 Mic check. Mic check. Today we have people. Circulating. Handing out. Water. Masks. Snacks. Because we keep us safe. They say we need the police to keep us safe. I don't know about y'all, but the police make me scared. They don't keep me safe. They don't keep Brownsville safe. They don't keep East New York safe. They don't keep the project safe. The biggest danger to Black life in the USA is the police. Fuck the police. Fuck the police. Fuck the police. Fuck the police. People, do not be scared. You've built a movement. You've got the president running scared to a bunker. The only wall Because he's scared.
Because he's scared
Of me and you.
of me and you.
When we get together,
When we get together,
we have the power.
we have the power.
Who's got the power?
We have the power.
Who's got the power?
We have the power.
People power.
People power.
Workers power.
Workers power.
People power.
People power.
Workers power.
Workers power.
Say it with me. Revolution's in the air.
Revolution's in the air.
We got Trump running scared.
We got Trump running scared.
Revolution's in the air.
Revolution's in the air.
We got Cuomo running scared.
We got Cuomo running scared.
Revolution's in the air.
Revolution's in the air.
We got de Blasio running scared.
We got de Blasio running scared.
Revolution is in the air.
Revolution is in the air.
They scared cause we are here.
They're scared because we are here.
So we need
So we need
to answer a question.
to answer a question.
Whose streets?
Our streets.
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 Mic check.
Mic check.
Mic check.
Mic check.
We have the power
We have the power
to bring about change.
to bring about change.
Look around you.
Look around you.
We the working people
We the working people
built all this shit.
build all this shit.
You fuck with us,
You fuck with us,
we'll tear it down.
we'll tear it down.
We tell ICE,
We tell ICE,
build the wall,
build the wall.
we'll tear it down.
We'll tear it down.
Build the wall, we'll tear it down.
We'll tear it down.
Build the wall, we'll tear it down.
We'll tear it down.
Build the wall, we'll tear it down.
We'll tear it down.
Fuck ICE,
Fuck ICE.
fuck NYPD,
Fuck NYPD.
fuck Trump,
Fuck Trump.
fuck de Blasio,
Fuck de Blasio.
and fuck Cuomo.
Fuck Cuomo.
Black Lives Matter,
Black Lives Matter.
Black Lives Matter,
Black Lives Matter.
Black Lives Matter,
Black Lives Matter.
blue don't matter,
Blue don't matter.
that shit's just a color.
That shit's just a color.
Black Lives Matter,
Black Lives Matter.
Black Lives Matter,
Black Lives Matter.
blue don't matter,
Blue don't matter.
that shit's just a color.
That shit's just a color.
When the cops ask,
When the cops ask,
what do we say to a dead cop's wife?
dead cop's wife.
What do we say to a dead cop's wife?
What do we say to a dead cop's wife?
Cops kill my people every day in the streets, that shit is life. This is a march in City Hall. Who built City Hall? Who's City Hall?
Our city hall.
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 Mic check.
Mic check.
Mic check.
Mic check.
Sometime today,
Sometime today,
someone will tell you,
someone will tell you,
you can't protest forever.
you can't protest forever.
You gotta vote.
You gotta vote.
They're not wrong.
They're not wrong.
However, don't vote for any politicians
For any politicians
who don't make promises
who don't make promises
to defund,
to defund,
disband,
disband,
and disarm
and disarm
the police.
the police.
Don't vote
Don't vote
for any politician
for any politician
who is not
who is not
opposed to austerity.
opposed to austerity.
And just in case,
And just in case,
I'm pulling out college words,
pulling out college words,
austerity means
austerity means
cuts to the budget
cuts to the budget
for people's wages,
for people's wages,
on pensions,
on pensions,
on health care,
on health care,
on public services,
public services,
and welfare,
and welfare,
and education.
and education.
Press the like button. Press that like button right under the live stream video. It's the thumbs up button. Please press that like button.
No justice. No peace. No racist. Police. No justice. No peace. Defund the police. 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 Mic check. I'm going to take a break. I'm inviting people to speak. Women. Queer people. Trans people. Indigenous people. Immigrants. To the front of the line. You can speak. Please shut me up.
So he's opening up this protest for speeches to marginalized minority voices, which is awesome. Keep pressing that like button. Share this live stream. If you don't mind, leave a super chat. Support our journalism in the trenches. We also have a GoFundMe going. I think we're almost at $109,000 raised, so hopefully you could help us get over that. It will help us before we take our next trip. I got a few ideas for the next place we're going to go. Let's listen to this young man.
Frustrated at Democratic politicians who kept saying to be a little more patient for our freedom. And that it just takes a little bit of time. I got really pissed off. So I wrote a little something. It's short, and I'll say it out for you, all right? It's called Done Waiting. They say to wait our turn. That if we just struggle... sorry, my bad, sorry. They say to wait our turn. That if we just struggle and earn, their spoils of our labor will trickle down. They say to wait and dull the strike sound, dialing down the volume on the struggle for our freedom. It just takes time, you see. Change ain't easy, but it's just cheesy. The talking points of pigs who've had their fill, whose politics and policy have kept us ill. They say we can't have justice, not yet. But against the working class, they've lost this bet. They say equity is too inflammatory. Sustainability, a fantasy. When will we workers see that all our power rests in the chains that bind us together? We, the people, are done waiting.
The brother who just spoke? His name is Khalil.
Hi, Khalil.
One last time? For Khalil.
Hi, y'all. My name is Sophie Ming. I am 18 years old from New York City. And I just wanted to say a few words. I just want to remind you guys two things. Number one, Black trans women
Actually, it's 6
We
billion.
don't need
It's 6
20
billion,
police
even
at
worse.
Columbus Circle. We don't need it. We don't need it. We don't need that. Meanwhile, hospital workers are getting on Instagram asking for spare masks. What the fuck?
It ain't right.
It's not right. It's not right. Defunding the police means saving black lives. It means saving black lives. Because, you know what? I feel safer around other black people than I do around the police. I should not have to cross the street when a police car is coming by. They love to criminalize black people when they're the ones committing the fucking crime. What is that? What is that? So I just want you guys to remember that when we say defund the police, defunding the police means saving black lives. That's what it means. That's what it means. And please remember the black trans women that are dying at the hands of the police. That's all I have to say. Thank y'all.
Mic check. Mic check.
Reach out.
Black trans lives. They matter here. Black trans lives matter.
Black trans lives matter.
Black trans lives matter.
Black trans lives matter.
Say her name. Say Layleen Polanco. Layleen Polanco. Layleen Polanco was a trans woman. Murdered by the New York City Department of Corrections. They tried to cover up her murder. But 6 days ago, video revealed if they gave a damn about trans lives, they could have saved Layleen Polanco. We have the power. Black trans power. Black trans lives matter. Black trans lives matter. She is gone. But not forgotten. Say her name. Layleen Polanco. Mic check. Mic check. I will be sending around the sign-up sheet. If you like what you see here, help us build it. Give us your name, your email address, and your phone number. We will build with you. Who keeps it safe? Who keeps us 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 safe? Mic check. Mic check. We need to ask a question. Who polices? The police. Right now, we're going to hear from Luis. He's with the campaign for an elected civilian review board.
Share this live stream. Come on, guys. Share this on all your social platforms and press the like button right under the live stream. Feel free to leave a super chat. We need the support.
Immigrant lives? Matter. Queer lives? Matter. Okay, I'm here with the Elected Civilian Review Board campaign. We're calling on City Hall to pass real reform. And by that we're saying that the Civilian Complaint Review Board hasn't worked for more than 10 years. Therefore, elected members from our community should be elected to be on the board. They should be empowered to make binding decisions that the police commissioner does not overthrow or disregard. That's why we're calling for an elected, empowered civilian review board. Say elected, empowered. There we go. We also calling for an independent prosecutor who we elected citywide. Because you know why? What? The district attorney, the mayor, the police commissioner will never hold the NYPD accountable. Therefore, when a cop rapes a woman, when a cop beats down, makes a false arrest that ends the life of black teens, they should be fired and they should be taken to prison by an independent prosecutor. Therefore, we need an ECRB now. ECRB now. ECRB now. Defund the police.
Mic check. Mic check. Mic check. Mic check. I am a revolutionary. A revolutionary. You have to say it. I am a revolutionary. A revolutionary. This shit ain't easy. Ain't easy. We're here today. We're here today. We're gonna be here tomorrow. We're gonna be here tomorrow. We're gonna be here next month. We're gonna be here next month. We're gonna be here next year. We're gonna be here next year. We ain't going nowhere. We ain't going nowhere. Right now, we're gonna hear. Mike. Mic check. Mic check. Mic check. Mic check. Right now, we're gonna hear from a revolutionary and the socialist. He is with left voice. His name Luigi. Is Luigi. Say his name.
Reminder, folks, 45 million people have filed for unemployment benefits. 45 million people have filed for unemployment benefits in the last 3 months. We have not seen these numbers in almost 100 years.
But for us, it's super important as immigrants to support black struggle, not only here in the US, but around the world. So I am from South America, and in Brazil, there is a lot of struggles. A lot of struggles are going on because a lot of people feel inspired about this movement. What we are doing is super important. And for me, being here and seeing bus driver denying to collaborate with the police was amazing. Listening that in West Coast, the dog workers are making a strike in solidarity with the black struggle. Yeah. And I feel like elections are coming, and the two options that we have is like, one is calling for shooting to the people, the other one is calling to shoot them on their knee, and we can't trust in any of them. And this movement has like an important task that is building our own organization. It's like we can't still going behind Democrats, Republicans, that they are not for our interest. We need an organization for the working class, for the people that is here. So all my solidarity as a socialist, as an immigrant, and keep fighting and see you on the streets every day.
That was somebody with left voice, socialist organization. I just gave him a card. So a lot of these folks, I want to make sure they know about status quo, start reaching out to us for interesting stories and events.
United will never be defeated. Workers united will never be defeated. Black workers matter. Black workers matter. Black workers matter. Black workers matter. Black workers built this shit. Black workers built this shit. Black workers will tear it down. Black workers will tear it down. Mic check. Mic check. We're gonna hear from Rosanna. Say her name. Rosanna.
My name is Rosanna. I'm a United States vet. I just want to say, what year are we in? 2020. So why the fuck are black men and women being lynched? Why? Why? Talk about it. Why? And they're saying it's a suicide. Now I know damn well they're fucking lying. You can't tell me a black man or woman is gonna hang up on the tree 10 feet up. No. Stop fucking lying to us. We know the fucking truth. Police love to cover it up. They love to say some bullshit. Just like they said, Breonna Taylor was shot and her boyfriend is in jail and he tried to attack the police. Bullshit. This is bullshit. I should not be afraid to walk past the police without fearing for my life. I should not be telling my boyfriend every single night, drive safe. And I'm not talking about you're gonna get in a car accident. I'm talking about if you get stopped by the cops, I hope you come back safe. I hope you come back home. To me, I should not be telling my nephew, please be safe in school. Please, only 13 years old, just turned 13, going to high school. You're telling me I had to tell my nephew to be safe? No, we are tired. We are tired of being tired. Black Lives Matter. Black Lives Matter is not a fucking trend. We did not come here to take fucking pictures for a fucking Instagram. This is not an aesthetic. This is real life that's been happening for 400 plus years. This has to stop. Gen Z is very superior. I'm sorry. We're superior. Gen Z is superior, and we're changing. We're changing everything today, tomorrow, for the next 10 years, for the next 100 years. I want everyone to put your fist up. Put your fist up. Put your fist up. Black Lives Matter. 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 Thank you so much.
And if you don't know, in the last 2 weeks, 5 men, 4 out of the 5 were black, were found hung from trees in California, in New York, Texas. 4 out of 5 men found hung by trees were black men. The 5th was a Latino. The police, in almost every case, immediately declared it a suicide without any evidence that they actually were suicides. In the case of California, Robert Fuller, a 24-year-old black man, was found hung from a tree, and they declared it a suicide. Right now, finally, they've had to come out and admit it looks like a homicide, and now they are investigating it as a homicide.
The whole rainbow. The whole rainbow. Yeah, that's what's been missing, the rainbow. And I want to thank folks for doing the rainbow, because without the rainbow, the power structure wasn't going to listen. Without the rainbow, the power structure wasn't going to listen. Yeah, it ain't just about voting. Voting is important. But you see these streets, you have to come into the streets and let the power structure know that you're tired of this bullshit. Feel me? You gotta come in the streets. It's been a couple 100 years. America, we got all these changes to the Constitution, but we never had the people of America making a conversation on racism. And this is what George Floyd allowed us. He allowed us to have a real conversation on racism. And I hope we can take that conversation a little further, not just this few weeks, but take it to your friends, take it on social media, take it to your families, especially you white folks. Take it to your families. Take it to your families. Raise the consciences. Let them know that this thing is real. It's not thugs in the streets, it's real people with real lives. And I want to talk a little bit about black on black violence, because this excuse keeps being thrown around. We didn't always used to be violent to each other as black folk. Yeah, we didn't always used to be. We had families. We had all the love. It's a system of laws. A system of laws. And a police force that treats our kids as beasts have been a big part of what this black on black violence is all about. It's systemic, it's conditioned. I'm not making excuses for black folk. We got our faults. We got our faults like everybody else. But what you see happening in the hood is a systemic result of laws that took all our fathers from our homes and sent them to prisons. They come back out here and they can't live normal lives. They can't live normal lives. It's a whole lot of frustration in the hood. A whole lot of frustration. So when you hear a conversation about black and black lives, please stop and have the conversation in context. Have the conversation in context. Thank you folks for coming out. You know, just spread the love and like this, speak power. Black power! Black power. Peace and blessings.
You want to introduce yourself? I don't want to miss your name.
It's okay. How do I work this?
You just squeeze and talk. If you want, I can take this off and hold this right through.
Now another speaker's coming up. Really powerful speakers so far. Keep pressing that like button right under the live stream. It's the thumbs up button. Share this live stream. Thanks for the super chats. Keep the super chats coming. We need them.
I worked with the police stations. I worked in juvenile justice. And currently I work for a company I ain't going to say because I won't get fired, right? But I want to talk about systemic mental health racism. Systemic mental health racism across the board. I've had cases that come across my desk that I'm crying about for normal stuff, normal behaviors that we do as black families that they do not understand. They want to arrest families because they have limited food. It's not that it's limited food. We only shop week by week sometimes. You cannot come in and say we don't have food. You cannot tell us that we don't, tell us to go to therapy, but there's no therapist that looks like us. In the school system, my peers say get over it. Why can't y'all get over it? Why can't y'all try higher? I'm at the doctorate level, and at the doctorate level, they tried to get me out of school because I stood up for my rights, because I wear my African attire, because I am a proud black woman. At the doctorate level, there's nobody that looks like me. It's barely people that look like me at the doctorate level. I am saying that they overdiagnose people, kids, black and brown kids. They overdiagnose us. They give us diagnoses that are reserved when you're 18. How are you a 12-year-old with bipolar? How are you 12 with schizophrenia? How? The DSM is written by white people. There is no people of the culture on the DSM board. There is none. The people, they don't take it to culture. They don't talk it to generation. They don't talk about how we're generationally raped with racism. We have generation upon a generation of hatred, of lack of education, of lack of poverty. We don't have a system to get us out of it. We don't even have an education system to get us out of it. We don't even have a real education system to get us out of it. My teachers had told me, I wrote a paper at the master's level at a wonderful school at Pace University. I wrote a paper. My teacher told me to write it over. I have a scholarship. I had a scholarship to my master's, GPA 4.0. How you telling me to write it over? Because you don't like the fact that I'm saying how white people came to Africa and raped us from Africa? You don't like the fact that I'm saying that? You don't like the fact that you're the haves and we're the have-nots? You don't like the fact that you're not giving us a chance at every opportunity we turn. We're kicked, we're raped, we're mutilated, we're hung, and we're lied upon all the damn time saying that it's us. It's not us. If you change the system, we will work it. If you change the way people look in front of us, we will work it. If we have black people and more therapy, the kids will come, the families will come. But they're not going to come to an agency that doesn't recognize them, that doesn't see them, that dehumanizes them before they even come through the door. Before they even come through the door. I have 10-year-olds in fucking jail. In jail with adults. Why? 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 There are kids that are in like RTCs, which is a lockup system. But you want to say if the foster care system are giving them the services they need? No, they're not. They're not getting the services they need. So it's a revolving door. But guess what? It's only a people of color. That's right. Only a people of color, and it needs to change. So while we're doing this protest, and while we're talking about change, we need to add change in the mental health system. Change in the education system.
Black kids matter. Black kids matter. Black kids matter. Black kids matter. We're gonna keep him out of jail. Keep him out of jail. We're gonna keep him out of juvie. Keep him out of juvie. On July 4th. On July 4th. Our coalition. Is building a march. That puts in the front. The people most affected. By police violence. We will march. In East New York. In Brownsville. In Bed-Stuy. In Crown Heights. We will stop. At the crossroads. Juvenile Detention Center. In Brownsville. Where we will say. Black kids matter. Mic check. Mic check. I want you to know. That I work for the city. The administration. For Children's Services. This city. Has failed our children. This city. Has failed our black children. In New York City. About 30%. Of the kids are black. In foster care. About 60%. Of the kids are black. In the 90s. There were 40,000 children in foster care. Today, in New York City, there are about 10,000 kids in foster care. That number is still too high. We can bring it down from the bottom up. We must empower our parents. Let them know when ACS comes to your door, don't let them in. It's your legal right not to let them in. Make them go to family court and file for a warrant. Black parents matter. Black kids matter. Black kids matter. Let's bring it back, people. What do we want? Justice. When do we want it? Now. And what do we want? Justice. When do we want it? Now. And if we don't get it? Shut it down. And if we don't get it? Shut it down. And if we don't get it? Shut it down. And if we don't get it? Shut it down. And if we don't get it? Shut it down. Does anyone know? Why we're not moving? Kate's gonna tell us.
Hey y'all. So, how's everybody doing out here? Yes! So it looks like we're not moving because they put a barricade in the middle of the street right in front of us. Our streets! So it looks like if we want to march we're going to have to march
Walk the streets.
around the barricade, or we're going to have to march around the block. Mic check. Mic check. Mic check.
Mic check.
Do you want to march?
Yeah!
All right, so people in the back, you're going to have to turn around. You're going to have to lead us now. That's what this movement is all about. Everybody has to lead sometime. Now is your time. What do we want?
Justice!
When do we want it?
Now!
What do we want?
Justice!
When do we want it?
Now!
What do we want?
Justice!
When do we want it?
Now!
What do we want?
Justice!
When do we want it?
Now!
If we don't get it? 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 If we don't get it?
Shut it down!
What do we want?
Justice!
When do we want it? What do we want?
Justice!
When do we want it? What do we want? Defund the police. When do we want it?
So, looks like they're beginning to march again after a bunch of great speeches. Powerful speeches on mental health, on black transgender people getting murdered. Stuff you don't generally see covered in the news, so I'm glad we were able to broadcast those speakers. We'll cut up those speeches for a video a little bit later. Looks like you got it. Definitely over 1,000 people here, maybe more than that. Don't know where they're marching, but we'll follow. We got, they're chanting Black Lives Matter. I also hear Queer Lives Matter here. And you're seeing a lot of signs actually for black men who were killed that haven't been talked about nationally that much. I see Justice for Sandra Bland here. And if you missed it earlier today, the mayor of Louisville, Kentucky fired one of the police officers involved with killing Breonna Taylor. There were 3 police officers involved in that, so they fired one of them. Let me be clear, fired them, not arrested them. So one is fired, 2 others remain on the police force, and none of them have been arrested. So needless to say, activists in Louisville and all over the country are not satisfied. And now they're chanting George Floyd's name. Keep pressing the like button, get this out to more people. Jen is in DC, so she'll be going live a little bit after me because there's Juneteenth protests and celebrations in DC too, and all over the country. And Jen's a little bit cooler than me. She of course had her incident with the police a couple weeks ago where they attacked her. Her infamous immortal phone went live for an hour and a half after she was knocked down and separated from her phone. Hopefully that doesn't happen again to her today. But keep pressing the like button, keep pressing the share button, share this live stream, subscribe to this channel if you have not. As humbly as I could say it, I don't see other corporate outlets here. I don't even see the other independent outlets out here. We seem to be the only ones, as per usual, but we're happy to do it. So we'll be marching with these folks, interview some people. YouTube is suppressing us, so we do need your help getting this to more people. So press the share button, press the like button, keep those super chats coming. We really appreciate it. What do you think of this? Jamal behind the camera.
Oh no, this is a great movement. I really appreciated what the speakers had to say, and it's definitely much broader than what they were protesting for earlier. You know, it seems like people are wising up and getting more conscious now about assuming power, not just protesting.
And it says it all that the police put a barricade up to not let them protest. I mean, this is as peaceful as it comes. They're not. The most violent thing they're doing is saying, fuck the police. And we've seen the police, you know, all over the country start the, shall I say, crybaby movement. Atlanta police started walking off their shift, calling in sick because they don't like the citizens, criticizing them, calling to defund them. This is kind of what happens when you prop the police nationally up on this pedestal that makes them gods and goddesses for decades. It's not to say they're all terrible. It's not to say they don't have a tough job, but it is to say they work for us and they need to be held accountable. So finally, you're starting to see police being charged with murders on a more regular basis. But the only way that has happened is this prolonged protest movement. And the only way it's not going to be a flash in the pan is this prolonged protest movement. I think another thing we should talk about is the fact that 4 black men have been found hung by trees in the last 2.5 weeks. A 5th man was found hung. He was Latino in Houston. The majority of these cases, police immediately came out calling it a suicide. One case in particular, the Status Quo has been covering in Los Angeles County. Tina Desiree Berg, she's a freelancer, has been covering it for us. Robert Fuller, he was a 24-year-old black man. He was found on June 10th at 4 in the morning, hung by a tree, basically in the middle of City Hall area in Palmdale, California. We've been covering the protests there. There's nobody we've found that actually believes this 24-year-old killed himself. In that area is a history of white supremacist groups, KKK groups, and we have seen chatter with white supremacy groups during this Black Lives Matter movement, basically energized these white supremacists, agitated, angry that black people and white people are coming out against police, against white power, those kind of things. And they are not happy also that Confederate statues and monuments are being brought down across the country. So it really is something. It looks like coordinated lynchings going on around the country, but the police departments are doing next to nothing and basically immediately declaring them suicides. Tina, for us, the freelancer, found out that police hadn't even checked the video cameras of local retail businesses around where Robert Fuller was found hung. They didn't even check the video cameras of retail businesses for 5 or 6 days after he was found hung. This is after they declared it a suicide. You can't find what you're not looking for. They didn't, and when they're declaring it a suicide, they're not even providing any information. Did you find a ladder? Did you find some type of thing, a rope, anything like that? So we're going to continue covering those because, again, to me, it seems like symbols that are being sent out, coordinated lynchings. But we're going to wait for the facts. And right now, they're on the ground kneeling, hands up.
To begin our moment of silence. Before we do, we're going to remind everyone who we're being silent for. Say his name. George Floyd. Say his name. George Floyd. Say her name. Breonna Taylor. Say her name. Breonna Taylor. Say her name. Breonna Taylor. 45 seconds to the countdown.
Sorry.
I think right now they're doing a moment of silence. Yeah, I think they're doing the full 8 minutes and 46-second moment of silence for George Floyd. We're going to change the batteries, so if the camera goes down, it's just we're changing batteries.
The West Bank. I've been here since I was 3. I was born in Puerto Rico. Oh! 88 Marine Home Base, Newark, New Jersey. My name is Samir. You probably recognize me. 17 states. I will slam the Jersey City this morning. And I was for real. I was gonna jackknife right in. Hey, sir. Hey, sir. And they think I won't make it. That's what's up. God loves me when I left my house at 12.
It's a really powerful image, you know. We're all 24/7 moving a mile a minute on our phones, on social media. So there's power in everybody kneeling in silence and just reflecting on all those black men and women who have been lost. You see, most people are kneeling. Some people are standing up with their fists in the air. As we've seen at protests around the country, you have a lot of white people mixed in these crowds. And I think that's been one of the main differences in this protest movement that's been going on now. It's almost a month. You see white people consistently out with black people. Not hijacking the movement, but definitely as allies. You got water? Same for you. You got water? The sun is out, and it's right down on us. This is one of many protests in New York City today. You got protests in D.C. and Chicago and Los Angeles, and name your city, there's going to be protests for Juneteenth. By the way, we got 300 people watching right now. We could definitely get that audience size up. So if you can share this live stream, press that share button. If you could tweet out the link to the live stream on all your different social media platforms. By the way, it might not look expensive, but being in the trenches, covering these kinds of stories is expensive. We got to pay Jamal,
obviously Jen, myself, Colin, equipment needs, advertising. There's a whole lot of costs. So right now we are $285 away from $109,000 raised via GoFundMe. So any amount makes a huge difference. Again, $285 away from $109,000 raised. Obviously, we don't have $109,000 in the bank. I wish. We've spent a lot of the money that we've raised on travel and reporting in the field and growing things. Recently, we've increased our advertising spending, which has helped us because we've started to finally grow again on YouTube. Recently passed 82,000 subscribers. So keep on contributing if you can. If you can't, we totally understand. Tough times for everybody economically. But if you can, Jen will put the GoFundMe link in there. Every amount makes a huge difference. By the way, if you're from Seattle watching, we are looking for some contacts in Seattle because I am thinking of heading out to Seattle if the CHOP autonomous zone continues. Little frightful to book a ticket when it could be intruded any day now and shut down, but at the moment it looks like it's going to continue, so we might be trying to head out there next week possibly. So protesters have gotten up. I believe that was 8 minutes and 46-second moment of silence. My apologies for chatting. I was getting yelled at in the super chat. My bad. So yeah, now everybody's up. I presume they'll be marching again. So we'll continue following here. For those of you who might not have Friday night plans, keep it right here at Status Quo. Jen will be going live at some point after I'm live for the festivities in DC. Obviously, my guess is there might be some protests or confrontations at the White House in advance of Trump holding his, whatever you want to call it, mini KKK rally in Oklahoma tomorrow, which had to be moved from today. He was going to have his campaign kickoff rally in Oklahoma on Juneteenth, which is obviously disgraceful considering the Tulsa massacre. So they moved it to tomorrow. Oklahoma right now is one of the cities with a rapid increase in COVID-19 cases. So there's also the health element. Out at these protests, obviously there's the risk of COVID. New York is on the downslide right now in terms of COVID cases, but with this many people congregating, there's definitely a risk. But the good news is, I see very, very few people without masks. Almost everybody I see has a mask. So you definitely see responsible mask wearing. It's pretty much impossible to socially distance at a march. So that's out the window, but at least people are wearing masks. Some people are wearing gloves, that kind of thing. Let's see if we can get around. Trying to head to the front.
Yeah, my name is Will Jennings.
Banners to the front. Banners to the front. Banners to the front. Banners to the front. When the banners are in the front, we will march.
We will march.
In the meantime, we will remind the police about who keeps us safe. Who keeps us safe? 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 Black lives matter. 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 Blue lives don't matter. That shit is just a color. Black lives matter. That shit is just a color. We have one more banner. All the way in the back. Let the fire truck pass through. A lot of firefighters are racist pieces of shit, but they do essential work. Somebody is waving at us. Give us some cheer.
So a fire truck was just going through. Now they're chanting "Whose Streets" again. I think they're going to begin marching soon. Right now we're still in the area around City Hall in Manhattan.
Word Street, 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 Word Street.
It's an interesting sign. Truth and reparations.
I believe that we will win. I believe that we will win. I believe that we will win.
All right.
I believe that we will win. Thanks, everybody. I believe that we will win. I believe that we will win. I believe that we will win.
Keep sharing this live stream. Get it out to more people. Subscribe to Status Quo if you have not yet. That would be nice. We appreciate the super chats and all that. So right now they are going down Worth Street here downtown. Little construction here. And you see people holding signs, people fists up. Again, all for Juneteenth, which I don't think a lot of people, especially white people, knew what this was before this year. So it's definitely taken on a much bigger awareness this year. That would be June 19th, 1865, when abolition general got to Texas to inform Texas slaves that they were freed. All of the slaves. That was really just for Confederate states. So slavery overall, in total, finally ended at the end of 1865 with the 13th Amendment. And they're chanting, "I believe that we will win. I believe that we will win." Let's try and get a little closer.
And now they're walking around Broadway again. And this is downtown New York City. There's protests going on in Midtown, Uptown, the Bronx and Queens, Brooklyn. So citywide. New York City and New York State, if you don't know, has the highest, ranks #1 around the United States in terms of income inequality. When you dig deeper into those numbers, the inequality economically among the races is severe in New York, particularly New York City, among white families and black families. And I'm seeing a lot of signs too for in support of queer people and trans people. So there's signs also for abolish the police, reparations now. So some people say defund the police, some people say abolish the police. There are police officers trailing this march. Not a huge number, but you never know, there could be undercovers too.
Abolish ICE! Abolish ICE! Abolish the police! Abolish ICE! Abolish the police!
Abolish the police and abolish ICE is what you're hearing right now. So we're right now kind of towards the front of this. No justice, no peace, Black Lives Matter, abolish the police. You're kind of hearing a whole lot of stuff. I also saw, earlier I saw a bunch of flags of Africa too. And there's people handing out water. And I haven't really mentioned it, but we also know that this all comes after Amy Klobuchar's theatrics last night, finding out that after she found out she was not going to be named vice president, she went on TV to pretend that she was bravely and heroically stepping aside so that Joe Biden could name a black woman as vice president. So she was being bravely championed. So you got defund, disarm, and disband the police.
Y'all make sure you're staying behind the banners. You're safer behind the banners. All right?
So that was one of the speakers earlier who spoke really powerfully. And you can see that's pretty, I don't know if those are CNN people, but there's definitely a lot of filmmakers or camera people up there trying to get the true size of the crowd here. Can I ask what those, I see a lot of people wearing those bands, what that is?
Here just volunteering today. Yes. Mm-hmm.
The energy is amazing out here.
The energy is amazing, so we just decided to march from city, and wherever we end is wherever we end.
You think this is going to continue? We haven't seen something for like a month all over the country.
Yeah, we're going to continue. We have to continue because shit keeps continuing to happen to us.
What's your name?
Stephanie.
Thanks, Stephanie. So that band is for volunteers. Definitely getting the vitamin D. Did you see that sign? Beautiful George Floyd mural. What do you think of this energy out here today? It's amazing.
I think it's great to see such a multicultural group of young people out here who are thinking about their future and creating a world where we can all be kind of like Dr. King said, the beloved community. I think this is amazing. I'm feeling their energy. I see their sincerity. I'm glad to see such a diverse crowd. I see old people, young people, black, white, Latino, Hispanic, Asian, gay, straight. This is the beloved King community Dr. King was talking about. I love it. I love it.
And you know, the speakers earlier were talking about things you never really hear in the news: trans lives, mental health crisis, a whole lot of things that are affecting black people that you really don't hear talked about much.
Yeah, we have 400 years of institutional racism that has affected the lives of black people, the generations of black people, and all of those systems are necessary in order for us to run a race. So you think about, running a 100-yard race. White folks have been on the 100-yard for 400 years, and we've been on the 2-yard line. So we need all those systems and services to improve the quality of lives of African Americans, trans people, black gay people. White America gets pneumonia, cold, black America gets pneumonia. So we're suffering, and we've been suffering for years. So these little handouts that government gives us, or jobs that we get, it's not enough. We need a systemic change in institutions that are going to change the quality of lives. We need to change hearts, talk about bias, and it's going to take some time, but we have to be committed. This group of young people that I see out here, they look like they're committed. I've looked into lots of eyes today, and I see a lot of people that look committed, and because this is not a weekend cause. This is going to take a lifetime. It may take some generations of people to die before we see the real change in this society, but they look committed.
And your thoughts on police departments all over the country now? I call it the crybaby movement. In Atlanta, they're walking off the job now. Other police departments, they don't like finally being condemned and confronted.
Let them go. Let them go. Let them go off the job. What we need is a whole new institution, a systematic system to change the quality of life. So we need neighborhood policing, but we need people that are from the neighborhood. We need bias training. Police officers need to be trained about bias. So let them go. This wasn't for them. This wasn't for them. Maurice Franklin.
Thank you, Maurice. Appreciate it. So that's an amazing portrait of George Floyd. Just the different colors and layers. Really beautiful. I think we saw that in the beginning of this march, however long ago that was. So you got Black Lives Matter painted on it looks like pizza boxes. So they're getting creative here. And again, lots of white people. I've seen Latinos, Asians. I'd say mostly young, but that's good. Young people got good legs. So now, if you're in New York and want to join, we're on Church Street. Church Street and I don't know. Oh, Church Street and 6th Avenue, I think. Keep pressing the like button, press the share button. I can't see, but last time I looked, we were $285 away from our $109,000 mark on GoFundMe. Super, super important. During these tough times with coronavirus, we've lost a hell of a lot of paid members. We are going to have our members only call Tuesday night. We'll do our members call. So if you're a Status Quo member, you know the drill. You'll get a link to join us on our members call through Zoom. Myself, Jen, and you. We'll have a good time for an hour or two. If you want to join Status Quo for as low as $5 a month. statusquo.com/join. This is how we grow for the long haul through paid membership. And you get bonus content, bonus videos, bonus photos, and most importantly, you can support in the field journalism. As humbly as I could say it, I don't see a lot of people out here. I've seen you kind of leading this. What do you think of these sustained marches for weeks and weeks? We haven't seen anything like this in years.
Sustained police brutality equals sustained marches.
Sustained police brutality means sustained marches. I like that. So, I don't know his name, but he's been leading a lot of this. And he's talked about sustained police brutality equals sustained marches. And, some of the things he's saying, would be controversial to middle of the road people. You know, he has chanted Blue Lives Matter, police don't matter, you know, it's just the color, blah, 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 blah. To middle of the road people, that might make them uncomfortable. But the truth is, you know, I think, and I've said this for years, not just now, in America, the police have been propped up and fetishized to the point of no accountability, to the point where they could terrorize people, and that has to change. And it seems like it's starting to change. I just think this movement can't take the foot off the gas pedal. I also think, I don't want to be the white guy. Jamal and I talked about this the other day. I don't want to be the white guy, you know, giving my thoughts on what to do, but I do think there needs to be an economic demand here as well as economic actions. We are at Great Depression levels. 45 million people have filed for unemployment. We saw the lines the other day, and I think it was Louisville, Kentucky. People online for 8 hours just to see a human being in the unemployment office, because people are not getting their unemployment, which Republicans and Democrats claimed as a victory. Oh, we're throwing people on unemployment. $600 extra they'll get. Yeah, if you're lucky enough to have gotten it. Most people have not gotten it with the $1,200 check, which is essentially crumbs. And for black people, as always, economically, they've been hit harder. Brown people hit harder than white people. For black people, COVID, they've been hit disproportionately hard. We know indigenous people have been hit extremely hard, particularly on Navajo Nation, which borders Utah, New Mexico, and Arizona. Per capita, Navajo Nation has had the highest COVID case count in America, larger than New York and New Jersey in terms of the per capita population. So what I'm saying is, as amazing as these protests are, it'll be interesting to see if it evolves into economic protest, meaning strikes of major businesses and banks. You see Chase and all these other banks putting Black Lives Matter on their windows. Yeah, that's great. After you disproportionately charge higher interest rates for decades towards black people and brown people. After you did predatory lending in black and brown communities, which some viewers get triggered when I say that, but if you go back to the 2008 financial crash, these banks did more predatory lending in black and brown communities than white communities. That's just a fact. And more black people were foreclosed on during the 2008 financial crash. And then these same banks have the temerity and the gall to put in their windows Black Lives Matter. You see Jamie Dimon of JP Morgan kneeling to commemorate, to say I'm with black people. No, you're not. These white institutions have preyed on black and brown people since the beginning of time. And they will continue to unless protests like this evolve with some economic demands. But I don't want to be the white guy white-splaining. You agree with me on that, right? That there needs to be some economic demands put in here.
Yes.
Short and sweet. Jen, can you text Tina and tell her I'm live? Because she's calling me. Let her know I'm live. Thank you for the super chat, Martha Riddle, $49.99. Thank you, Jordan and crew. Don't know why this won't let me round this to 50. It's all right. I'll round it to 50 in my heart. Thank you so much for that super chat. We really, really need your support. no matter what the amount is. Obviously, $50 helps, but any other amounts you guys can do makes a huge difference, unless you want to leave the coverage to CNN and MSNBC, because obviously they do a bang-up job, meaning they're not here, as per usual. So keep the Super Chats coming, keep the GoFundMe coming. I know some people don't like me trying to fundraise. Apparently they want to bash corporate media all day, but not fund independent media. We don't take any money from banks, fossil fuckers, big pharma, Silicon Valley, big real estate, military industrial complex. We don't take their money. We are growing through you. We recently passed 82,000 YouTube subscribers. We'd love to hit 100,000 by fall. Hopefully that happens. But the more money we raise, the more we could advertise, the more freelancers we could pay around the country. If you haven't noticed, we've paid freelancers in Los Angeles, in Philadelphia, in Oakland, in Minneapolis. Obviously, Jen's in DC for us, me here, Jamal behind the camera. It all costs a lot. So keep on supporting us if you can. We are not talking, we are walking the walk. So right now they're at J Street, downtown New York City. And they're telling the NYPD to suck their private parts, i.e. dick. NYPD, suck my dick. You know, New York City is a big city, but I'm starting to see, I've covered quite a lot of these protests, so you're starting to see the same faces at some of them, which is interesting.
How do you spell racist? How do you spell murderer? How do you spell brutality?
Right now, if you are in New York City and want to join, we're on Worth Street and Hudson Street. Hudson Street and Worth Street. I think this is considered Tribeca. And no justice, no peace.
No justice. Defund us. And what do we want? Justice. When do we want it? Now. What do we want? Justice.
And,
when do we want it? Now.
By the way, obviously, these protests have not focused that much on electoral politics, but we should point out that there are two black men right now with a lot of momentum heading into their primaries on Tuesday. You have Jamal Bowman here in New York, who, according to one of the few polls that's out, right now is in the lead. He's beating Elliot Engel. He's a former middle school principal in New York District 16. So that would be a huge upset if Jamal Bowman wins over Elliot Engel on Tuesday. The New York primary is Tuesday. You also have Charles Booker over in Kentucky. Right now, one of the few polls that have been out there, he is leading Amy McGrath, who essentially is a tall, empty glass of water. She was a Marine, I believe, but she doesn't really stand for anything. Classic neoliberal. Chuck Schumer picked her as the Democratic establishment's pick for the Democratic nomination to take on McConnell. The recent polls show that Amy McGrath, who, by the way, has had $30 million donated to her for Kentucky Senate race and has been flooding the airwaves with commercials. So she's got $30 million in her bank. Charles Booker did not have that. And she right now is losing to Charles Booker. And against McConnell, she's down 20, whereas Bowman, I believe, was down 12. So obviously Bowman's got the momentum. That would be a huge upset if Bowman wins the Kentucky primary. It will be an uphill climb for Bowman to beat McConnell, but I'd like my chances with Bowman versus McConnell rather than McGrath, who stands for your classic incrementalism, neoliberalism, bullshit. So two important races coming up Tuesday, in addition to some other contests that we have our eyes on.
Fuck the police. Fuck the police. And we are here. To also celebrate Juneteenth. Which is emancipation. From slavery. To have a good time. We're gonna bring the band to the front. When the band gets to the front, we will march.
bringing the band to the front. Oh, look at the puppy. Very cute. My girlfriend and I were thinking of getting a dog. This cabin fever during COVID is really, really terrible. 1-bedroom apartment, spending, 12, 13 hours in one room. Not that we have it so bad. A lot of people are about to lose their homes. So we're thinking of getting a puppy to make things a little better. We'll see what happens. So now they're waiting for the band to come up. And thank you for the GoFundMe donation. Anonymous, $5. Sandra, $20. Woo! So we are now, that's $260 away. $260 away from $109,000 raised. Can we raise $260 in the next 20 minutes or so? I think so. If everybody drops in $5, we could do it. Obviously, if you don't have $5, totally cool. But if you do, drop it in the GoFundMe. We really, really appreciate it. So you got a bunch of bicycles at the front here. And the sign, if you haven't seen it, this is a revolt against racism. Stop the war on Black America. Nice shot of the New York City skyscrapers, too. Whew, I'm getting hungry for pizza. And you got people here with drums.
We're on Hudson Street and Harrison.
I don't know what the delay is, so we'll see. Yeah, it's still going. So now they're saying, fuck the police, fuck the police.
Black lives matter. 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 No justice. No justice. Defund the police. No justice. Defund the police. No justice. No racist. No justice. No justice. No racist. Say, I believe that we will win. 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 What do we want? When do we want it? Now. What do we want? Justice. When we don't want it? Now. What do we want? Justice. When do we want it? Now. And if we don't get it? And if we don't get it? Shut it down. And if we don't get it? Shut it down. And if we don't get it? Shut it down. And if we don't get it? Shut it down. No justice. No peace. No justice. No peace. No racist. Police. No justice. No peace. No racist. Police. How do you spell racist? How you spell murderer? NYPD. How you spell brutality? NYPD. How you spell racist? NYPD. How you spell brutality? NYPD. How you spell murderer? NYPD. Say his name. Say his name. Judge Floyd. Say his name. Judge Floyd. Say his name. Judge Floyd. Say her name. Breonna Taylor. Say her name. Breonna Taylor. Say her name. Breonna Taylor. Justice for. Justice for. Justice for. Breonna Taylor. Say his name.
And You know, I think we should also point out, obviously, this protest movement is predominantly about black men, unarmed black men being murdered by police. More and more women being murdered by police. Black trans people being murdered. But let's not forget other forms of racism going on in America. We're over 6 years since the people of Flint, Michigan have had clean water. Flint is 53% African American. Of course, it's affecting white people in Flint too. But the environmental racism in this country, strangling, killing, torturing black people, brown people, indigenous people, from Flint to East Chicago, Indiana, which I've covered, which has a massive lead problem, from Navajo Nation and other indigenous communities that have high cancer rates because they dump mines right next to reservations, because they frack through reservations. The racism permeating this country is not only through police bullets, it's through governmental policy that dumps toxic shit on the backyards of our poorest. I remember Jen and I, when we started Status Quo, actually even before Status Quo had a name, we went to Virginia to a historically black community known as Union Hill, which was built by freed slaves because they were building Dominion Energy, which if you live in Virginia, you know what I'm talking about. They have totally bought the government of Virginia. Dominion Energy was building a pipeline, a natural gas pipeline to go under the Appalachian Trail, which is a disastrous decision in the first place. You don't put a natural gas pipeline, i.e. a ticking time bomb, under the steepest slopes in America. But putting that aside, they were going to put this massive compressor station literally like in the backyard of a church where freed slaves are buried, in a community that is 80% black, mostly elderly black people. And that compressor station was going to be emitting methane and all sorts of toxins in this historic black community. Shit like this is going on in America every day, all over the country. You rarely hear about it. It's not front page news like, will John Bolton's book get published or not? It's not front page news and 24/7 like the Russian boogeyman, but this stuff happens, and Status Quo covers it time and time again. So, of course, the main priority of this protest is to get police to stop killing unarmed black people, to stop terrorizing black communities. But I wanted to point out these other forms of racism that we know are pervasive and that I've personally learned about just through travel and reporting the last several years. I think Jamal's eyes were opened with recent trips, particularly to South Bend, Indiana, when you got Whitey McWhite, Pete Buttigieg, you know, being elevated as the next Jesus of Nazareth by the Democratic establishment. Meanwhile, he's bulldozed the whole damn community, shut down, bulldozed 1,000 homes in 1,000 days. Yeah, he pretended that, oh, the community was begging me to do it. No, the white folk were begging you to do it. But Pete Buttigieg, who, if Biden didn't box himself in to selecting a woman, many people thought Buttigieg might be his vice president. We know Obama and other leading neoliberals want Buttigieg to be the future of the party.
Don't shoot!
Buttigieg,
Don't shoot!
basically,
Don't shoot!
without the approval of black residents and brown residents in South Bend, just bulldozed 1,000 homes in 1,000 days. When black families said, we don't want our homes bulldozed, instead of bulldozing them, could you work with us to repair them? Because they didn't have the money to repair them, which is a common problem if you're poor. Buttigieg and his administration just heavy-handedly went in there, fined them, put onerous fines on them until those homes were bulldozed. So Jamal cut a video. It's up on the channel. just go to playlists, click on South Bend. I mean, when you watch this video, it's unbelievable. It's just a sea of empty lots, thanks to Pete Buttigieg. So it's not just the bullets, it's the government policy and the racism from our Democrat and Republicans. And by the way, let's get it straight, folks. I mean, obviously Donald Trump, a lot of the polls right now, Fox News polls show he's 12 points down. It's not looking good for Donald Trump. But let's not get it twisted. Whatever neoliberal Joe Biden selects as vice president looks right now like it's going to be a black woman. I think in general that's a good thing. We should have more women of color, particularly just a woman, period, as vice president or president. But don't think just electing Joe Biden with a female black vice president is suddenly going to change policing in America. The guy who wrote the crime bill, the guy who says shoot him in the leg instead of the heart, the guy that was pounding around with Strom Thurmond in the 1970s to stop busing, a guy who could barely construct a full sentence, and his campaign is literally, their plan is to keep him hidden in his basement as long as possible. You're going to still need protests with a President Biden. Police budgets are not going to get cut in half with a President Biden. The Department of Justice is not going to suddenly come in with a President Biden and start cracking down on police departments across America. So let's not get it twisted. All right. Right now we're at the Holland Tunnel. And just for our viewers watching, we'll probably wrap soon because I want to give Jen the opportunity to go live too. So we'll wrap soon, take a little break, and then Jen will see what's cracking in DC so she can go live. Obviously, we should expect some protests, celebrations in front of the White House. We know that Trump is, unless something has changed since I've been live, Trump is still doing his, I don't know what you call it. I say it's a Junior Mint KKK rally in Oklahoma tomorrow. He was going to do it on Juneteenth, but it got moved. So he's still planning on doing it tomorrow. We'll see if that actually happens. And I believe there's going to be protests, obviously in DC today and the rest of the weekend. Celebrations too. So Jen's been covering a lot of the protests in DC. Some of it actually has ended up just being dance parties in the streets, which is kind of fun to show you. So make sure you are signed up for our text list, because if you're not signed up to our text list, you might not know when Jen's live. YouTube does not like to notify you when we go live. Oftentimes, if we do two live streams back to back, it's even worse. You will not even see our second live stream. A lot of the times, you'll have to click on our page. You will not see it even on the home screen of our channel. You'll have to click on videos to find it. So text us right now. Text COUP to 370-370. That's COUP to 370-370. That way you'll get a text when Jen goes live. I know that's what I'll be doing tonight. Probably gonna have some pizza, maybe a Corona beer. I haven't slept a full night in 7 or 8 nights. I've already told you about my insomnia, so. But I need a meal and a drink. So does Jamal. All right. And by the way, I will say, I've said this at other protests, but most protests I've covered around the country for the last few years, they kind of tend to empty out after like an hour and a half, 2 hours. I don't see that at these protests. It seems to just continue, sometimes even grow in numbers. So that's obviously a good thing.
Our streets, our streets, our streets, our streets, our streets.
And for Status Coup Nation, just a reminder, I think we're going to do our members call Tuesday of next week. So Tuesday, 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific. It's Tuesday night, 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific. I do not think I'll be live Sunday. That could change, but it is Father's Day, so I don't know if I'll be live Sunday. But we'll see.
Black lives matter. 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 No justice. No peace. No justice. No peace. No justice. No peace. No racist. Police. No justice. No peace. No justice. No peace. No justice. No peace. No racist. Police. No justice. No peace. No justice. No peace. No justice. No peace. No racist. Police. Say her name.
Thanks for the GoFundMe donation, Amy. So we are now $255 away. $255 away from $109,000 raised. How amazing it would be if we could get that extra $255 before I sign off for the day. $255. Can we do it? I think so.
No peace. No racist. Police. No justice. No peace. Whole street. Our streets. Whole street. Our streets. Our streets. Whole street. 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 Our streets.
By the way, somebody in the super chat asked for the best pizza place in New York. My opinion is Patsy's. I'm a big fan of Patsy's. I think there's a couple different locations. I also like Artichoke. Artichoke is really good. You got a favorite pizza place?
No, I have a favorite topping. Anchovies. Love anchovies.
That's disgusting.
Really?
I hate anchovies. Yeah. What do you think? Let me take this.
Yeah, so this is a really good protest. I thought it was a lot more fruitful than the last one because I feel like as these protests are going on, people are now realizing that, you know, we have to really dismantle this whole system. It's not just a reaction to racism. You know, we have to change how we operate in this entire country. And I'm hearing a lot of speeches now speaking to these problems, you know. It's not just anger. It's about, you know, bring real solutions to these problems, like, you know, policies that keep police accountable for their actions, or you know, things that make sure that people receive justice when a cop does something wrong. You know, it feels like we're getting to something more tangible now. I want people to stay focused on voting, on elections, because getting people who represent us in government is really the most effective means to all of this. You know, protest is what's going to basically, you know, spur the movement. This is the movement. You know, it's alive. But I just want people to understand that to put the nail in the coffin, put the period at the end of the sentence, choose representatives that look just like you. Yeah, that's what I have to say.
Whew. Just got a whiff of justice. You smell that? Whew. Just got a whiff of the plant.
Smells good.
Smells good. It does. I haven't had a good doobie in a long time, actually. That's right. I say doobie. So that was Jamal behind the camera. Right now, we got it coming down to Varick Street. I've gotten my steps in for the week, I think. So we're down at Varick Street. It's chanting Black Lives Matter.
Black Lives Matter. Black Lives Matter. Black Lives Matter. Black Lives Matter. Black Lives Matter.
And it really is a beautiful day in New York. It's not like too hot, but it's good heat, I guess.
Black Lives Matter.
think the point also we should see of these ongoing protests are they're starting to work. It's not, the protests are not like overhauling capitalism, but they are starting to put police departments in check. I also think another element to this that's powerful isn't, and you got cars honking in solidarity. Another part of this that isn't particularly about Black Lives Matter, but I think is important, is you are seeing that there is the capability for mass mobilization of young people. Something that frankly Bernie Sanders wanted, but couldn't bring home in the numbers that needed. Not that it's only young people protesting, but by and large, you see young people as the predominant demographic at these marches and protests. So the fact that we are seeing young people and this mass mobilization, this multiracial, multi-generational coalition is a good thing, because you're going to need it for anything down the line, from a general strike to expanding the labor movement. You're going to need to get young people off their ass. Maybe coronavirus has helped that because people just need to get out. Who knows? But it's a good thing to see. So now they're chanting New York City, no new jails. They're on 6th Avenue and Canal Street. So this is 6th Avenue and Canal Street. You see some police officers with their phones up, so looks like police, for some reason, seem to be broadcasting. Oh, Grand Street. I used to live on Grand Street down here. And by the way, I just want to make the point. Oh, it looks like they're kneeling again. So some people are kneeling.
So have you ever watched Eyes on the Rise?
Our streets, our streets, our streets, our streets.
And by the way, earlier today there was a lot of people protesting in Columbus Circle because they want the statue of Christopher Columbus brought down, which we have seen the statue of Christopher Columbus brought down in other parts of the country. It would really be something to see it brought down in New York City, though, because New York City is kind of the dome of capitalism, for lack of a better word. So now they're chanting NYPD, suck my dick.
NYPD, suck my dick! Suck my dick!
All right. Yeah, so I think we're going to wrap, give the live streams a little space. We definitely want you to come back a little bit later. We'll see what's happening with Jen. I don't know. There's a lot of different events going on in D.C., so I want to give her a chance to go live. Obviously you got stuff possibly near the White House. A lot of different groups merging in D.C., so I'm looking forward to seeing her live. Make sure you are on our text list. It's not just like so we could text you hello, good morning. It's so we could text you when we're live. So I don't know, Jen could be going, I haven't talked to her, so she could be going live in the next 15 minutes or in the next hour. We will text you when she's live. We also have some freelance reporters working on some things around the country. So for all we know, we might have somebody live from Philadelphia tomorrow. We might have somebody live from LA tomorrow. Our schedule is often unpredictable and kind of, flexible. So we definitely want you to know when we're live. We really appreciate the super chats. We really appreciate the GoFundMe donations. We could use every last one of them. We also appreciate the fact that a lot of you are, struggling economically. So if you can't donate, that's cool. But you can do something if you can't help us financially. Spread the word. Share our live streams. Share our individual videos with friends, families. I think we got something for everybody, not just progressives, but people that just want to be woken up. Being woken up is different than woke, because I think some of these woke people are out of control, to tell you the truth, online. So sometimes woke can go too far. So keep spreading the word. The other thing is, we are, I don't know if you know this, but we're on Twitter, so follow us at Status Quo. We're almost at 40,000 followers on Twitter. We're also on Instagram, instagram.com/status quo. Before I go, let me see if I'm missing anything. 222. Let's see. All right, not a bad audience, 331. I don't know if you saw, but I'm wearing my press shirt, which is pretty badass. My brother got it for me. Thanks, Jamal. You're a great cameraman. Blah, 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 blah. Oh, they're undercover, those cops? Possibly. Why are you smiling at me?
Like praise.
Oh, he likes the praise. Thanks, Jordan and Jamal. You rock. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Jordan needs his pizza. Yes, Jen will be back live in DC, so don't miss it there. Subscribe to our channel, too, if you haven't subscribed. We just passed 82,000 subscribers, which is awesome. But we're on the march to 100,000 now. YouTube's not making it easy because they hide us in a cave. So definitely, if you haven't subscribed, press subscribe. I might be live depending on what's going on this weekend. And most importantly, keep the attention on this movement. If you can protest in your community, if you feel safe, do so. The other thing is, definitely support independent media. Like I said, we don't know for sure, but thinking maybe going to Seattle to cover this autonomous zone. I'm just a little nervous about going to cover it, flying there, and then oh, what do you know? It's shut down in the next 3 days. So with those kind of stories, could be a little unpredictable. But we definitely want to hit the road and get out there again. So definitely, if you're not a member yet, support us, statusquo.com/join. We have our members call Tuesday night. So we're looking forward to that. And that's it. Text COUP to 370-370 so you can get a text when Jen's live. Thanks for watching. Peace out.